This is Doon. I'll tell you what you need to know about this Kitchener neighborhood starting right now. Hey, it's Andrew Shackleton, Kitchener Waterloo real estate broker, Drew at home.com. So this is Doon. Doon actually used to be the village of Doon back a couple hundred years ago. It's in the very south end, the southeast end of Kitchener, bounded by the 401, Homer Watson, and the Grand River, and to the north by the Pioneer Park neighborhood. This neighborhood for getting around, super easy if you've got a car, because especially if you're a commuter, you're right by the 401, it's about 2 seconds away. So if you want to, London, Toronto, Guelph, Cambridge, anything like that, bang, you're right on the highway. You can also take the 401 up to Highway 8, take King Street into Kitchener that way for getting around, or your other choice is Homer Watson, which is the main road for the Doon neighborhood. Now, talking about public transit, not so good for that. There's always been bus routes coming down to Doon because Conestoga College is located here, but you're in the very south end of the Kitchener. So if you're looking at doing public transit, your best bet would be take a bus from here up to Fairview Mall and then catch the LRT. But as I said, those kind of commute trips by public transit are going to be lengthy. Okay, now let's talk about things to do in the Doon neighborhood. So as you can see right behind me, we've got Doon Valley Golf Course. You want to chase the ball around? This is perfect. On the other side of the 401 as well, almost as close, is Whistlebear. So you've got, two public courses right in your backyard. Other things to do. As I mentioned, Doon, the neighborhood, used to be Doon Village. So if you check out the Waterloo Region Museum up on Homer Watson, they've actually got a Doon Village Historic Museum in there. I think there's 60 buildings. It takes you back to what life was like in the 1840s. And I imagine people had to work pretty hard for their bread back then. Other choices you've got. Homer Watson Park, gorgeous. You can see the river, miles and miles of green space. It's just gorgeous. I used to have a canoe a long time ago. I've canoed the Grand. It's perfect here. I fished here, pulled bass out of the water. It's a great area if you love nature. You got active kids. You've got the Activa Sportsplex up in Country Hills. There's also Chicopee for skiing, snowboarding. They've got zip lining there as well. So those are some great choices for active lifestyles. Other things, there's McLennan Park, there's Huron Natural Area. They're both perfect. And for the grown-ups, because we're kind of far south, you're a little limited in your shopping choices, wanting to go out and do things. My best bet for you would be to suggest a strip along Fairway Road, or perhaps you could check out the Sunrise Center. Those are your really closest kind of commercial strip areas with the big box stores. It's just that we're quite far south. Let's talk about your grocery choices. Closest Groceries from here is going to be your Zehrs in Pioneer Park. It's really close. It's at the top end of the neighborhood. Your other stores are a little bit further away just because we're so far south. So there's another Zehrs on Ottawa. You've got a Value Mart, I do believe, on Fairway Road. There's Freshco on Westmount. You've got a Sobeys, brand new one on on Fisher Hallman in the Williamsburg neighborhood. So I mean, there's groceries. Your go-to is probably going to be that Zehrs. Now let's talk about your schools. So this is a family-friendly neighborhood. You've got, for public, you've got Brigadoon, and you've got Doon Public. I think that Doon Public is your 7 and 8, and Brigadoon is the little kids. You've also got Huron Heights Secondary for your high school. For your Catholic board, you've got St. Timothy, St. Kateri, and then your high school is going to be St. Mary's up in the Country Hills neighborhood. Okay, lastly, let's talk about the housing. As I mentioned, Doon was a village 200 years old, but your oldest properties here are not going to be that old. They're going to date probably from the 1950s, 1960s, mostly along the river. You check out those homes, they've got great big lots, just because the zoning was a lot different and more open back then. Good chunk of development, probably from the 60s into the 80s, and then they've got some newer stuff as well, 2010 and up. One thing I should mention as well, the Conestoga College is on the other side of my camera. There's a fair bit of townhouses and rental properties, of course, to accommodate the students as well. This is a very suburban area, there's no question about that. It's just located in the south end of Kitchener. Anyways, that's all I got for you. Thanks so much for watching and have yourself an awesome day.